If you're born in Canada and one of your parents is a US citizen, do you automatically qualify for US citizenship? And the answer is, it really depends. There's a lot of nuance about Americans being born abroad. Generally speaking, my children qualify for US citizenship because I lived in the US for more than 5 years before the age of, I think it's 19, 21. They change those little details all the time, but generally your parent has to be able to prove they lived there for several years. They have to be able to provide, I provided transcripts, school transcripts and stuff to prove that I really grew up there and I'd lived there for a significant amount of time in order for my children to qualify. You also have to do it before a certain age. My current understanding, the last time I checked when my kids were little, they were telling us that the kids had to apply before they were 18, or the parents had to apply on behalf of the children before the children turned 18. So if you're like 70 years old and you discover one of your parents was born in America and you're like, shouldn't I qualify as a citizen? Maybe not, but there are always a ton of exceptions due to military circumstances. There actually have been quite a few problems where female soldiers giving birth abroad, and because of certain circumstances, there were debates about whether or not their child qualifies for US citizenship or not, like actual veterans. Like, I mean, like the whole thing is just, there's a lot of nuance and a lot of like little rules that are sometimes a little complicated. So definitely Google it. Am I a US citizen? And usually government websites will pop up and they'll have these like little questionnaires that you can do, kind of like a BuzzFeed pop quiz. And it'll tell you at the end, like, you are most likely a US citizen. You are most likely not a US citizen. This test cannot determine whether or not you are a US citizen. Please contact your closest embassy or whatever, right? You can also do this in reverse. So like, am I a Canadian citizen? Just do this with any country that you think you might be a citizen of. And generally there are quizzes and online options that kind of point you in the right direction so you know whether or not you're probably a citizen. Generally, children born to Americans abroad can have citizenship, but like I said, there are exceptions. So for example, if one of your parents was born in the US and therefore qualified for citizenship, but neither of their parents were US citizens and they only like lived there for a month before they moved abroad, you might or might not, depending on what the current rules are. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, and I am not a lawyer. None of this is legal advice.